And we are live. My name is Tyree Simon.
Elijah Jones.
And this is MMA Renegade episode 41, recapping UFC Vegas 19, Derek Lewis versus Curtis Blades. How you doing, Elijah?
I'm good. It's another Sunday. Still in the panorama. All the above. I'm doing fine, though. I'm all right. Tired mostly, but I'm hanging in there, just keeping going. How are you?
I'm doing good, man. I can see the bags under your eyes. I can tell that you're a little tired.
Tired, man. Real tired.
I think we have Flat Politics already in the chat. You're already saying Lewis is a beast. So we're going to talk about that, of course.
Yeah.
Before we start, we're going to say subscribe, share, if you enjoy what you hear, and also just to put this out there, we also have a Discord. Join a Discord where you can get most of our MMA discussions where we're not talking on the show. We could talk to you guys while the fight is actually happening.
And again, if you're interested, please join the Discord. We also love feedback. Feedback is how we stay live, how we stay current, how we evolve. So please go ahead and talk to us. Give us your thoughts. Tell us if we need to do something more, something you would like to see for the future.
All right. And we're also going to go through a little bit of a change, too, with the format of the show. Starting in March, we're gonna change it up a little bit more long form, a little bit, so you guys can have more variety in this show. A little bit of UFC recap, but also a little bit of UFC news and MMA news. And also, we're looking to go on different platforms as well, like SoundCloud, Apple Podcasts, and other things.
Yes, sir. We're reaching out to other streams, so please stay tuned. Tyrese got some good stuff cooking up here.
Yes, and also on my behalf, I'm going to be on a wrestling podcast this evening. The Deep Six podcast. I'll put the link in the description below if you want to check this out later on today. So yeah, we got Discord again in mid discussion, especially for the next pay-per-view. We're going to be live throughout the whole entire thing talking about it, and yeah.
What an experience! I think we've only actually done that one time, I guess. Right, we've only done that one time where we've talked during an actual fight.
Mm-hmm.
And the next card is just, in terms of stacked, it's wild. It is wild. But anywho, Tyrese, let's begin the show.
Yes. Do you want to start it off?
I could, but being as how I'm so tired, I would love to hear Tyrese give it another go at a fantastic opening. Ladies and gentlemen, does everyone want to hear it? We want to hear it. Give them what they want.
I'm not doing any of the bullshit that you do, but I will say this. Last night we seen UFC Vegas 19, the heavyweight division.
Dude, introduce the Apex. Come on, you know better than this.
No, I don't do all the theatrics that you do. I get fit to shits. Derek Lewis versus Curtis Blades in a fight where I think me and you talked about it last week, where we discussed whether the Curtis Blades is going to just dominate this win because of his takedown abilities, and how we know that Derek Lewis struggles against the grappling and tying him down in the 5-round fight. So we thought that was going to be a factor. And Derek Lewis proved that you should never doubt him.
I mean, I thought he was losing the Volkov fight. On the record, let it show, he was losing the Volkov fight. Then he wins the fight. After that, I have never doubted the man. Going against Daniel Cormier, also we were there at the Madison Square Garden. We said to ourselves, we don't really see him beating Daniel Cormier, but there's a small percentage of chance that he could win. He didn't win that fight, but he's been on a good tear ever since, right? Derek Lewis is somebody you just don't count out. At heavyweight, he's a guy who has the power. He's definitely slimmed up for his weight class now. He's definitely putting a little bit more cardio in there, and he's definitely has a little bit of underrated wrestling takedown defense, in my opinion. I think a lot of people were starting to make the assumption that he would just be taken down rigorously, but you also have to take into effect that these are big boys, right? These are guys who are coming in at the weight limit of 260 and then getting back up to maybe 280 or such, right? So the issue here is that, like, even though he could be wrestled for 5 rounds straight, how could you pick up a guy like that consistently? But Curtis Blades, we knew, would be the guy to do it. Yes. So before this fight, it was like we said, it was either Derek Lewis gets wrestled and just destroyed for 25 minutes or even less, or he gets a highlight knockout. There's only 2 ways this fight can really end, and last night proved it. Derek Lewis is able to knock him out with a very, very greatly timed uppercut, but didn't land super flush, but it landed enough. And that's the thing about the heavyweights, right? Like these guys have so much power that even an awkward hit or a hit that doesn't land fully is still able to put you out. Man. I saw it, and I thought Curtis Blades up until that point was actually doing pretty well with the fakes and trying to overwhelm Derek Lewis. How did you feel about that? It was only 2 rounds, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah. I thought so. Initially, when I was looking at the fight, I was surprised by one thing of Curtis Blades. I was surprised by the lack of leg kicks. Up into halfway into the first round, and we started seeing the leg kicks and start to turn.
He opened up
a little bit. Yeah,
he opened up with technique.
Yeah, I felt like Curtis Blades was trying to look to get on the inside and trying to look to get him against the cage and then possibly grapple with him. But I thought in the first round, Derek Lewis was being a little gun shy. I think he talked about in the post conference that he had a little bit of hard time warming up and getting ready for the fight. He's put his back against the cage, which I thought initially was him preparing for a grappling exchange, just so he has the base in order to defend it. But in the meantime, he was also getting pieced up a little bit. Curtis Blades started to land a couple of shots. The leg kick started to turn turn Derek Lewis. But I also thought Curtis Blades got a little bit more comfortable with striking. That I was like, okay, if you play this game with Derek Lewis, chances are you might get hit with a bomb, and you don't know how you're going to recover from that.
That's true, right? Like that with a guy with so much power, you actually saw in a lot of those exchanges. It actually, in my opinion, it looked like Curtis Blades was getting the better of him in those.
Yes.
Right? Like it did. That was the interesting part. I think it was okay. He's kind of. I think he thought he had to maybe have thought to himself like, all right, he's now comfortable with me opening up and striking, so he's probably not going to really think I'm going to go for takedowns. And then he went for this one takedown and he got knocked down. I was just like, wow. But up until then, landing the combination, starting with the jab, going for leg kicks. He had Derek Lewis trying to, escape out and still was catching him too. So, I think Blades did a very good job in terms of pushing forward, 1, and 2, just trying to overload him for that first round. That first, I want to say 2 minutes and 30 seconds. He was inching in, just throwing, feint, just trying to see what he bites on, what he goes for. And then next thing you know, he starts landing a jab. He'll land it straight. And then he ends up landing some leg kicks, I thought should have been done sooner. But, in my opinion, he won the first round.
Yeah, I think the thing about Derek Lewis and what led to his win was Derek Lewis is better when he's moving forward. Like I think when Derek Lewis is moving backwards and he's against the cage and he's trying to wait for a takedown and prepare for that and play on the defensive, I think he's more prone to get hit with some big shots. And maybe not all of them are like knockout power shots that's going to hurt him. But
shots nonetheless.
The accumulation of it can lead to problems like the Junior Dos Santos fights and other fights in the past as well.
The fights that he has been knocked down and that has happened to him, where he kind of gets pushed into a corner and then he just gets not pieced up, but it's like precision and timing. Yeah, it's the precision and timing of how he gets struck on, I guess, or he gets hit, and that's really determines how he loses.
Yeah, and then with Curtis Blades, he went for a takedown. Derek Lewis did a great job of stuffing the takedown and which he was looking for, and keeping him on the feet. And then once Derek Lewis decided to move forward, and especially in the second round, at the end of the first round, that's when you start to see a big change and a shift in where Derek Lewis got ready. He knew the takedown was happening, and moving forward, he landed the uppercut, and that's what put him out.
I think that uppercut didn't land flush, right? We're not talking like an uppercut that like completely like hit face. It was more or less that it landed perfectly enough to knock him out. Went stiff, and then the follow-up shots. If he wasn't out from those shots, the shots that he drained down on him were monstrous. Like I was like, damn, stop the fight. And luckily it was a good stoppage too, because he was out. He was completely out. And it's interesting, right? Curtis Blades, he has one of the most dangerous wrestling games in that division as we speak, right? In heavyweight. He's a guy who is known for his wrestling. Like, he's going to take you down. He's going to try to take you down at some point. But I did like that I saw improvements in his striking. I thought he showed a little bit more technicality in terms of just getting in and not just automatically going straight to wrestling. Maybe try to set it up, try to get those traps laid. But again, great win. Great win for Derek Lewis. Razor Blades got caught, but I can't say much more, honestly. The fight didn't last much longer than a couple of minutes.
Yeah. By the way, who is singing in the background? I can't ignore it. Who the hell is singing in the background?
That's church going on. My mom's
okay.
church.
All right. No, fair enough. Fair enough.
Tone it down, Tyrese. Tone it down. That's the Lord. That's the Lord you're talking about.
You have to ask these questions because somebody's going to ask, like, what is that in the background? Now you explain it as church, and we know your mom. You get it. We get it.
I'm not gonna question her. I live in her apartment. I'm not gonna question her. Look, Tyrese, and I hope she enjoyed church.
Listen, there's a mom joke in there regarding church, but I'm not gonna say it. Me and you understand. we understand Sunday morning church.
Just a different time, different place.
Yes. But yeah, I thought Derek Lewis had a great performance.
He did.
This is one of those things with Curtis Blades where knockout artists like a Francis Ngannou or a Derek Lewis may have his number, especially when it comes to him trying to go for a grappling exchange and getting caught. Yeah. Let me ask you this now. So Derek Lewis, after the press conference, said that he would like to see Alistair Overeem next, hopefully. I think that's a fight that makes sense because at this point, at the stands right now, Francis Ngannou versus Stipe Miocic happens later in March. I think March 21st, I believe.
I'll pull it up. Keep talking.
Yeah. So with that fight on the table, and then you have John Jones. We already know he's going to be a heavyweight. That fight is pretty much set for John Jones fighting the winner of that fight. So the heavyweight division is kind of in disarray a little bit because John Jones is already next to the line, who's not ranked in the heavyweight division.
March 27th is correct. Keep going.
March 27th. Okay, so who's not ranked in the heavyweight division? That fight is probably going to happen. Let's say the summer or the fall of this year. So we're talking about possibly a year without a contender inside the heavyweight division that's already been ranked.
Yeah, I think a fight that it makes sense to prolong, like I guess the perennial contenders at heavyweight, right? Because you realistically, it was going out and said John Jones is the next guy to fight for the belt after Miocic versus Ngannou 2, right? Then you have guys like Derek Lewis. You have Alexander Volkov. You have Alistair Overeem who's still up there. Then you have Jariho Rosenstruck, right? And then you also have Cyril Gane, right? Like you also have these excellent matchups that have happened or are going to happen for the UFC heavyweight division. So realistically, we don't. I mean, again, I just want to come off and say this. Everyone, I hope no one said this last night that Derek Lewis is the number one contender. I truly hope. You didn't see that narrative? Right?
No, it wasn't that. No.
Good. I just want to make sure that narrative isn't put out there. I think realistically, a fight against Alexander Volkov could be good. A fight against the loser of Cyril Gane versus Rosenstruck can be good. There's a lot of matchups for Derek Lewis right now. I would really love to have that Volkov fight again. I love the way Volkov looks right now. I really, really do. And I think the Volkov rematch might be on the alert before he gets Alistair Overeem, in my opinion.
We also have a couple of fighters on that are going to be ranked or going to be close to getting a ranked fighter in Division 2. You have, Tom Espinal beating Andrei Arlovsky last night by rear naked choke, which I thought was impressive. I thought he's somebody that seems to get better and better and better. And we're seeing more of somebody that's going to be a possible problem in that division. Mm-hmm. We have Chris Dukakis. I hope I said his name right.
I feel like you did.
Chris Dawkins.
Dawkins. It's Dawkins, not Dawkins. Dawkins he's tough. That's a bad dude right there.
Absolutely put it on Andrei Arlovsky. I mean, not Andrei Arlovsky.
No, I spelled off Arlovsky. Olenek.
Alexei Olenek yesterday. Put it on them. Alexei Olenek. Honestly, I think once the grappling and submission attempts aren't there, it gets a little bit more dicey for Olenek, especially at his age too.
Yeah,
I guess these younger fighters coming up now, I think it's gonna be more of an issue. But Chris looks really good. And then you have another one, Sergey Spivak.
The polar bear actually won last night by TKO, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah. The man's like, again, you also have those guys who are up and coming for the heavyweight division, not light heavyweight. Right, but then remember, you also have guys like Augusto Sakai, who's still up there. You also have guys like, again, Walt Harris, who's probably going to be looking for a fight soon. It's just Chabora. Marcin Chabora is a guy who's on a 3-fight win streak as I think we right now. So I mean, you have so many fights that are possible for this heavyweight division, and then you have so many fights within the top 10 that are possible. So I think the heavyweight division is picking up momentum. I'm excited about it. You have so many great contenders. I think this good.
It's picking up momentum, but it's getting to a point where, again, this year we're gonna see John Jones fight in the summer. Or the fall, depending on how Stipe versus Ngannou goes, whether that's going to be a 5-round fight or it's going to be a quick,
round.
like this Derek Lewis fight, maybe go 2 rounds. But even in that, it's just like we don't know what this fight, and then John Jones already next, who's not ranked in the division. So now, people that are ranked, like Cyril Gane, Jazier Rozenstruik, Derek Lewis, Curtis Blaydes, if he rebounds. We don't know exactly how long they'll take before they get in the title shot, because it may be to next year before anybody that's currently ranked right now gets a title shot.
There really is. Well, let's look at it like this. There is no clear-cut number one contender, right? If we go through the rankings of who's what and where's where, Stipe is our champion, and Ngannou is number 1. Curtis Blaydes is number 2. Jarinzo Rozenstruik is number 3. Derek Lewis number 4. Volkov is number 5. Alistair is 6. Cyril Gane is 7. Shamil Abdurakhimov is 8. Augusto Sakai is 9. Alexei Oleinik is 10. We're just going to stop at 10. Let's realistically look at this. Alexei is probably going to be bounced out of the top 10, right?
Yes.
Most likely Shamil Abdurakhimov will probably be moved down, but he'll still be there. Augusto Sakai could possibly be bounced. Who knows, right? You still have these top 10 guys. Like Ngannou's getting the belt now. Blaydes just lost, which means that he's going to drop down. Rozenstruik are currently entangled with Cyril Gane. So either the winner of Rozenstruik versus Gane could either get Overeem again, or Volkov or Lewis. There's possible fights that, yes, it's going to be a while before any of those contenders get to fight for the belt, but realistically, the timing won't be off. It may be off by a little, but not too much, in my opinion, because it's just there really is no number one contender besides Ngannou, because I don't see anybody in that division who beats Ngannou right now.
So, Fly Apostle follows Lewis is a damn assassin. The thing about Lewis is, yes, he's on a 4-fight win streak. I want to see him do more. I think he called out a great opponent in Alistair Overeem. I think that's a great matchup.
Very technical fight, yeah.
I think I think we talked about last week or a week before that, the winner of this fight possibly fights Gane versus Jair Rozenstruik. I actually don't like that. I actually don't like that fight now that I think about it more. I think the winner of that fight should fight Alexander Volkov next. I think that's a better fight than have Derek Lewis fight Overeem next, because I don't think you want somebody that's entertaining and as marketable as Derek Lewis to fight somebody that may be a tougher matchup. Give him somebody like an Alistair Overeem, and then you could possibly do Volkov or Gane or whoever.
I think that's a good fight for Derek Lewis to really test his grip. But that fight, I disagree. I agree with you, but not for that reason, because it would be a tough fight. I think that's a great matchup for those two, because Derek Lewis is a guy who plays coy, and Jair Rozenstruik is someone who's a big guy who has the power and the technicality. So now you're going against a guy who can knock you out with flash knockout, from playing coy. Then you have a guy who's so technical that he really can pick it up on you. I just think that it's inevitable for Derek Lewis to meet Volkov again, unless Derek Lewis loses. That fight is inevitable somewhere down the line. But the build-up to that fight happens much better if Volkov fights someone like Rozenstruik or Gane for winner of that, and Derek Lewis comes back from this redemption trail from losing that one fight to Daniel Cormier to now building back up to saying, hey, this is your number 2 guy. Sorry, your number 1 guy is Volkov, and I'm number 2. I already have a highlight knockout over him, and he was beating me for 5 rounds straight, right? That storyline is a little bit more compelling than him just automatically fighting him. So I agree with you for the part that he shouldn't fight him right now, but not because that fight, might be a little harder for him. I just think that there's better fights to take to the road to get to the heavyweight belt, because if you rush that, then now you create a standstill where guys are just going to be asking for the title fight, and they're not going to take any fights below them. And that's kind of where the welterweight division is, in my opinion, right? Like, you have these guys who have fought a lot of other people, but they've beaten just a certain small set, but they don't want to fight the people below them. So take their time, make sure you make good matchups. Like Overeem versus Lewis, that makes sense. That very much makes sense right now. Gani versus whoever that, Gani versus Rosenstruck, winner can get, Volkov, like that. Those fight make sense. And it's almost kind of like a tourney could really be made right now.
Yes. And that's kind of was linked to. The reason why I went with the Volkov fighting the winner of Rosenstruck and Gane is because I was also thinking more of the kickboxing. Like the stylistically, they both match up well. Like all three of them are kickboxers. Like that is a fight where it'll be entertaining and it makes sense. For Overeem and Lewis, Overeem is somebody that's older but still has those tricks. If he gets you on the ground, his ground and pound is still dangerous for a Lewis. And can Overeem? He likes to rope a dope and he likes to take shots and try to weather the storm. Can he do that against Lewis? For that reason alone,
that's the bigger question.
That makes those fights interesting and worth seeing. And then again, John Jones is still there. John Jones is going to fight the winner of the Stipe and Miocic fight in Ngannou. So I think whoever wins between those fight, Overeem and Lewis and Volkov and whoever wins Gane and Rosenstruck, that could probably be a number one contender fight.
It's possible. It's really possible.
Unless the loser of Francis Ngannou and Stipe get that.
And see, that's what a lot of people.
That's where it gets crazy.
And this is the point I'm trying to make. A lot of people don't take into account that the loser of the title fight still needs to make a fight after. They're going to take some time off, but there's a matchup there, right? So, like, realistically, what could happen here? Gane versus the winner of Gane and Rosenstruck fights Volkov, right? That person probably can fight either the loser of the Ngannou or whatever, or the loser can fight Derek Lewis while the winner or the person who's going to be fights. Like the matchups are endless, which why I don't think the heavyweight division will be at a standstill, even with John Jones jumping into the picture for an immediate title shot after this Ngannou versus Stipe 2 card. I really don't.
It does, but it does create a little of a dilemma because
it's a dilemma, but it's not stagnant. It's not going to be stagnancy. I promise you, it's not going to be stagnancy.
It's not. It maybe not, but it's something to look out for, just because of the fact of. Okay, let's put a scenario if John Jones beats the winner, right? John Jones is not heavyweight champion. John Jones may not take any fight that's available. John Jones
for sure not taking any fight available.
You know what I'm saying? So like, even if you are ranked, even if you are a Lewis and he's number one contender, he may not say that's the fight I'm going to take next. He actually may just say, you know what, I'm going to go back to that light heavyweight and defend and go fight Izzy or John.
I beg to differ. I don't think John ever moves back down, and I think because I think that Jones is probably going to come somewhere around 245, 240-ish for this heavyweight. I think that's probably going to be a better weight, maybe 250. Who knows, right? Tops, 250 tops, because he's just be big. I don't see him going back down to light heavyweight because he honestly has beaten most of the guys there. 1 and 2. I think the only other option that holds up the heavyweight is if Izzy jumps up from light heavyweight to heavyweight.
That's another issue, right?
That's the only scenario, and we don't know the timetable for that. Right, like we may not even get that, but that's the only issue. That's more realistic. That's the only issue I could see for the heavyweight division. The only.
Or if Izzy becomes champion and John says, you know what, I'm gonna beat winner of Stipe and Ngannou,
and then go back down,
and then then that's it. See what I'm saying? Like it.
I just don't see it
because John Jones is not fully in the division yet, and he's already next to the line. It does create problems to where we still don't know exactly what's going to happen next, which is interesting, but it's also it may put the division in disarray, which again is something where you got to look out for, and Derek Lewis may not be the next guy the next year.
And that's what I'm saying. Like, you don't know what happens next year, but realistically, I don't know if I see John Jones going back. But if he did, I bet you the money is right. I bet you if he does drop back from heavyweight to light heavyweight. Yeah. The money's got to be right.
Yeah. So Derek Lewis, again, I think he should fight Overeem. I think me and you both agree. And then Volkov was still out there. I would love to see him fight, either Gane or Rosenstruck, a kickboxing fight. I think that would be really good. For Tom Espinal, he's not ranked yet.
He'll be ranked.
Love to see him fight.
I think he'll be ranked this week. I think he will with the Espinal with the win. Oh wait, what's it called? He's no longer in the rankings, right? What's his name? I get maybe one more fight. Maybe one more fight. Yeah.
In the rankings.
I thought he was still there.
I would have Tom Espinal probably fight somebody like a Junior Dos Santos. That fight makes sense. I would say for these younger heavyweights, younger in terms of this prospect and just them being new on the scene, I would not have them fight each other. People are talking about Tom Espinal versus
Daukaus.
I think that's a bad fight. I think you save that later on in the rankings.
I think it's a good fight to watch, but that fight doesn't need to happen right now because they're just not that they're too young in their career. I think they'd love to, like, don't get me wrong, a fighter is going to love to fight, so they're going to want that. But realistically, if we're talking about getting them as close to a title belt, and these are two young talent who are going to match up sometime. Right. Doesn't have to be right now, and that's the other thing. You don't have to rush it with young talent. But Daukaus that's a bad dude, and Espinal's proved that he the blast double he hit on Arlovsky. Crazy. I was impressed by that. I really thought, because he comes from the same camp as Darren Till, and him and Darren Till are really big, they're training partners. I was very impressed, very, very impressed by that blast double to get the rear naked choke finish.
And, his hand speed was something that impressed me as well. I would love to see, again, these younger prospects in these heavyweight divisions take out the legends. Fight the legends. Like I said, Tom Espinal can fight Junior Dos Santos. That'll be a big test for him. Junior Dos Santos is ranked number 12 in the division, so that will give him a ranked opponent that's also older, that still has credibility as well. And then for Chris Daukaus, have him fight somebody like a Augusto Sakai maybe, or a Shamil
Abdurakhimov. I don't know if Abdurakhimov takes that, but maybe Marcin Tybura. Was it Pavlovich, Sergey? Like there's fights that could be made that it doesn't involve those two fighting each other right now.
Correct. Yeah. Save that for down the line when you actually need a main event between two prospect heavyweights.
Where do you think Razor Blades goes from here?
See, that's interesting. Curtis Blades was on that list of people that possibly are next, and that's for his way back into it. This one is a little bit of a setback. We talked about Derek Lewis.
It's a big setback
fighting Overeem. We got the Rosenstruck and Gain possibly fighting Volkov next. Maybe you do a Derek Lewis versus a Augusto Sakai or
Oleinik. You know what? I give him Oleinik. I feel like that fight is more realistic.
I believe he already fought Oleinik.
Oh, did he really? Oh, God.
Yeah, I think he already fought Oleinik. Again, we get to the point where everybody's already fought each other.
That's also the other issue.
No, he hasn't fought Oleinik.
Give him Oleinik. Give him Oleinik.
He knocked him out.
Oh, yeah. Well,
he knocked him out.
Then I don't know what to say. Give him some time off, and maybe a lower ranked guy between 7 and 15 wouldn't be horrible.
It also has been 4 years too.
Yeah. Oh, since they fought? Oh, yeah. It's a possible rematch.
Yeah. So I mean that fight could make sense. You can probably hear somebody ringing the doorbell like it's crazy.
Yeah. You want to let them in?
Which is the door's unlocked. I don't know why they're doing that, but yeah. So yeah, that was a fight that makes sense. For Curtis Blades, it's interesting because again, against these knockout artists that have a little bit of good takedown defense, it does get a little bit harder.
It does. I think on any other day, I think one thing they've shown is that Derek Lewis is definitely, his game is becoming a lot more better. That's the one thing we saw. And the issue with Curtis Blades is that he's getting these entries that aren't necessarily great sometimes for takedowns, and that's where he gets caught.
Right.
That's his biggest problem. But that is not to say he can't run through most of the division. You know what I mean? On a good day, he can literally obliterate most people just through wrestling alone. So I think this is a big a mid-level setback for him. But he'll be back. And there's not too many people who can do what happened to him in that division besides the upper echelon. If I'm being honest with you.
Yeah, and I would still love to see John Jones versus Curtis Blades at some point. I think that'd be a great fight.
Solid fight.
Yeah. Was there anything else on this card that you would like to discuss, or anything that surprised you, or?
There just a few things. Well, we talked about Aspinall. Sexy Mexi, the guy, John Castaneda, he beat Eddie Wineland. Eddie Wineland's the second time he's been knocked out, so It's kind of crazy, and not knocked out but finished, and I'm kind of worried. But Eddie Wineland's such a tough guy. Shout out to Castaneda for that. That's a great fight. One fight I want to talk to the Anna Kunitskaya fight versus Caitlin Vieira. Did you watch it?
I did. Yeah.
Who do you think won that fight?
I had Caitlin Vieira.
Okay.
But I could see how they gave it to Kunitskaya because I thought that the ending of the third round probably went her way, and I don't know how to judge the rounds where it was kind of close. So
it was close.
I wasn't mad at it really.
No.
The fight kind of was what it was a little bit. I didn't really. I thought Yana Cruz kind of looked good, but it didn't say to me that she's
up next.
Yeah. You know what I'm saying?
I think she's a tough fighter. I think she's finding her groove a lot more now, right? When she initially came in, she fought Cyborg. That didn't end well, right?
And that's tough match for anybody, though.
Yeah, that's tough match. She also then had a knockout loss against what is her name?
Did she also lose to who else she lose to? She lost a knockout to Cyborg, yes.
She had a knockout to Cyborg. The Aspen Ladd also knocked her out.
Yeah,
she was winning. Aspen Ladd was losing the fight, and in the third round, Aspen Ladd comes out, just knocks her out. Kunitskaya is someone who has the technical ability. I just think I think she needed to get more comfortable in UFC, and now she's starting to show that. But I would have given that fight a split decision, not a unanimous.
I mean,
yeah.
You still have Kunitskaya winning?
No, I had Caitlin Vieira.
Yeah. Okay, so we're both on the same way. I thought Caitlin Vieira won enough, but I mean. I thought
Kunitskaya didn't. I just didn't think it was unit.
I didn't think
it seemed more split.
Yeah, I didn't think one was clearly winning the fight.
It was a great fight. It was a great fight. Not to say that one was more dominant than the other. I just thought it was a little bit more back and forth and closer than they look. But it is. And it is what it is.
Different ways though.
Yeah. What anyone you would like to shout out?
The Eddie Wineland one, to me, that's also something to look out for. He's on a 2-fight losing streak. Lost to Sean O'Malley, and then lost to
Castaneda just
now. So it's just to see where he's at. He's also, I believe, a little bit up there. I think he's in his mid-30s. Also coming back from injuries too. 36 years old.
Yeah,
he'll be 37 in June. Yeah. So it's I wonder exactly where did he go next? What exactly in the works for him? I don't think he's a good fighter, but just to see where he goes from as getting older against other featherweight.
The talks probably need to be had at some point.
Yeah, definitely.
Oh.
Phil Hawes was another one that I thought was a little bit in trouble. I thought Imavov. I thought had he let go of the clinch a couple of times, I thought he could have had Phil Hawes in dangerous trouble.
He hurt him a few times when he did that. When he let go of the clinch and tried to just like those brief engagements when you leave the clinch, right? Like there's a split reaction, like there's a split moment where you can actually strike and don't let the person reset. Phil Hawes got caught. Yeah,
and I was a little bit interested that he kept. It wasn't Phil Hawes that initiated the clinch. It was
Imavov. Yeah, that was the issue.
Yeah,
he didn't work in the clinch. That was the interesting part. He didn't work in the clinch as much as he could have. Another good fight, in my opinion, was Jared Gordon.
Yeah, good for Jared Gordon.
He missed weight, but at 145, I always thought he was a lightweight. But Jared Gordon came down at 145, and it was pretty good against a very, very tough guy.
Danny Chavez.
Yeah, Danny Chavez is a killer. Homeboy is a killer. He's also, I believe, from Queens.
Yeah, Jared Gordon and Bilal Muhammad are both coming. I feel like they're both going through a resurgence phase right now, where like they're starting to find their groove a little bit, and they're both having good stories. I think both roommates. Jared Gordon, if you know him, you know his story. It's good to see him on the good track. And
always good to see Jared Gordon.
I don't know if he stays at this weight class. What's going to happen? But it's going to be interesting to see.
Yeah. Overall, what would you give this card?
I would give this card a solid a B.
No more than.
Yeah, I thought it was solid fights.
Good matchups. Really good
matchups. I thought the Curtis Blades, Derek Lewis one that was a good one while it lasted. Julian
Erosa.
Although he had a good performance as well. He's on a 3-fight winning streak.
Yeah.
Beat Sean Woodson, which was somebody we thought was going to be a problem in the featherweight division. He still could, but he beat him by a Darce choke, and he beat Nate Ludwig.
I thought Sean Woodson's good. He's just gonna have to find his he's gonna have to find his thing again. That's it. It's really it. It's just who's the better of the night. You know what I mean? He's still early enough in his career.
Yeah. And what would you give it?
A B.
Okay.
B. It would have been a B- if the main event didn't end the way it did, but it was a B. It's a solid B.
That's fair. Yep. I thought it was a solid B card. I think I gave last week's pay-per-view, I gave it a B-. So I thought for what it was on ESPN Plus, I thought it was a good show.
Agreed.
All right. So by the way, next week is Gane versus Rosenstruck, which we talked about earlier on about the state of the heavyweight division.
Yep.
We will not be live for that. But we will be on the Discord. Again, another incentive for you to join the Discord so you could be a part of our discussion. You can watch along with us so you could see our reactions to it, and we could talk with you guys personally there. So, again, join the Discord. It's in the link description below. If you want to get on discussions, you want to see our instant reactions to a lot of these MMA events, join the Discord.
Yes. Please join.
All right. We'll be back for the UFC 259 pay-per-view. Israel Adesanya versus John Blachowicz. Amanda Nunes versus Megan Anderson and Peter Yan versus Stunning. That stack card. Yes, it's going to be an amazing fight. Flathead, you're in the Discord, you're in the comment section. Once again, I was only able to watch the last 2 fights, so I can't really grade it. Lewis is a beast, though, boys. Yes, he is. He is the Black Beast for a reason. Hey, sure. Flathead, join the Discord. Peter Carter discussion. Again, we're not going to be live. We're going to be on the Discord talking about Gane versus Rosenstruck, so join there. We'll be back in 2 weeks.
All right.
Signing off. My name is Tyree Simon.
Elijah Jones.
This has been MMA Renegade episode 41. Have a nice day, guys.